On your adventures in Tamriel, you end up interacting with a wide variety of interesting characters, from troubled knights and traveling mages to daedric priests and vengeful schemers. There's a whole host of unique personalities to meet throughout all of the Elder Scrolls games, and while most of these individuals are straightforward and easy to understand, regardless of their morality, others are a little more confusing, and in my opinion, a lot more intriguing. Often you won't meet these characters unless you really go out of your way to find them, but then there's those who you just can't escape, the types who come straight to you.
Over here! We can't talk here. Too public. Meet me behind the great chapel at midnight. Don't let anyone follow you. I'll make it worth your while.
Huh, that was weird, wasn't it? I wonder what he wants. Maybe he's a special contact from one of the many guilds I'm a member of. I'll just ask him now.
You fool! You'll ruin everything! We can't be seen talking together!
Whoa, well, we better go and see what his deal is at 12 AM. Skingrad is a city located in the Westweald region of Colovia, southwest of the Imperial City along the Gold Road. It's one of the richest towns in Cyrodiil, so much so that even the middle-class citizens here live in big houses that are far more superior than even the best dwellings in somewhere like Breville. There's the Hightown District, the Chapel District, and of course the spectacular castle, and bridges and gates link each zone together to create one beautiful place to live. It's a place known for its excellent wines, succulent tomatoes, and top-tier cheese. A fine place to live, if you ask me. That said, we should probably go and see what this Glathir fellow wants when it gets to midnight. We best be armed well in case it's a trap, but there's a while before midnight, so let's spend our time meeting new people. Perhaps the locals will be able to give us more info on this odd elf. I must say, I'd forgotten how short Wood Elf males are too. Let's find a popular inn. They're always good places to ask around and get information. I hear the Westweald Inn is quite nice. Maybe we'll pay some gold so we can have a place to sleep after we finish our meeting behind the chapel at midnight, or perhaps not. Anyways, I wonder if the innkeeper knows anything about Glarthir.
How to say this nicely, he's sort of the town eccentric. Lived here for years. We've gotten used to his ways. Although, lately he's been weirder than usual. Always looking over his shoulder, writing in his little notebook. I wonder what he's up to now.
Well, that's kind of weird. Maybe someone's after him and he thought I looked like the kind of person who could help. I mean, people here in Cyrodiil do seem to always ask me for favors. Let's see what else we can find out. Surely more people have something to say about Glathir. How about you, Elsie Godhater?
He's a raving lunatic. I'm assuming you're asking because he's done something strange. Like what? Oh, like shouting obscenities at you? Or wearing only fur for an entire year? Or waiting outside your house every morning? Not that you'll get anyone else in town to admit it. Oh, he's harmless. We're used to him. Harmless. Ha! One day he'll snap. Then watch out.
Alright then, maybe we shouldn't be meeting with this guy. Although what's some small little Bosma commoner going to do to a powerful adventurer like me? I should probably leave and look for more people to get info from.
I don't mean to gossip, but he is more than a bit strange. However, he's always been tolerated as the town eccentric. Farewell.
Ah, perfect. And how about we finally ask a guard instead of the citizens? After all, they're the ones who ultimately spend their time trying to keep the city safe. What do you think of Glathir?
Yes? Glarthir? Total nutcase if you ask me, but he's never done anything yet that we could arrest him for.
We should definitely keep our wits about ourselves when we meet this guy. Probably would be smart to take everything he says with a massive grain of salt. Well, it's getting late. Let's head to the chapel and speak to Glathir at midnight.
Ah, you came. You're sure you weren't followed? Good. I thought I could trust you. Nobody else in town. They're all in on it. All watching me. Well, yes, I need you to do something for me. I'll pay you gold. You like gold, don't you? Lots of gold. Here's my problem. I'm being followed. Watched. Marukote selectives, maybe. Not sure. I'm a threat, you see, to their plans. I know too much. I need you to check out some people for me. The ones who are following me. Watch them. See where they go. Who they report to. Will you help me?
Now, if you decline, Glathir will go on a rampage himself, grabbing one of the many axes from his house and trying to kill the 3 people he wants you to spy on for him. Alternatively, if you just kill Glathir, you can ask citizens about him, and they will simply tell you that he turned up dead, guessing that someone finally got tired of his crazy behavior. But we aren't going to end this adventure early now, are we? No, we're going to help this crazy wood elf and find out if he's actually crazy, or if the Maracati Selectives really are after him. I thought this was a humorous yet cool reference to some not so often talked about Elder Scrolls lore. The Maracati Selective were a zealous sect of the Elysian Order, originating very long ago in the middle of the First Era. They hated the Aldmeri influence that was found in the religions of man and sought to remove it entirely. They desperately wanted to prove that Uriel and Akatosh were not the same god. They used powerful rituals to attempt this. They wanted to manipulate Akatosh himself to support their own viewpoint. It's all very confusing and convoluted, but basically a massive ritual went down which created the dragon break known as Middle Dawn, and this lasted for over 1,000 years, and it allowed the Selectives to manipulate the universe. The master of their sect channeled the Orbis itself to remove any parts of the elvish Uriel from the Imperial Akatosh. They did powerful chants to create a state of monothought until a tower appeared in front of them, and then the master supposedly did a dance upon it until it broke into 8 parts. It's all very confusing how this went down, and there's not enough time to explain it all in this video, but what we can gather from this is that Glathir is crazy to think that this group from so long ago is watching him. He probably read about them in one of his many books found in his house. There's a ton of them piled up all over the place inside. Anyways, even if this issue is made up, perhaps someone is following Glathir. Let's take on his first assignment.
Very good. You won't be sorry. I'll pay you well. Did I say that already? Let's start with Bernadette Penniless. Be outside my house at 6 a.m. You'll see her watching me. See where she goes and who she reports to. We'll meet here again tomorrow night. Oh, and never contact me in public. They're watching. They can't know you're helping me.
Let's inquire more about this Bernadette woman before we go investigate.
Her house is almost directly across the street from mine, southwest of the Great Chapel. Coincidence? I don't think so.
Asking Glathir about Skingrad itself is also quite fascinating.
There's so much I could tell you. So many secrets. But then you'd be in danger too. It's best if we're not seen talking.
Well, let's go suss out Bernadette. We'll have to wait until 6 a.m. though. Hold on a minute, we've been interrupted. It seems like our asking around about Glathir has drawn the attention of Captain Dion, the leader of the town guard.
A little bird told me that you've been asking around town about Glarthir, a resident eccentric. I'd like to know why.
I'm really just curious, to be honest.
Fine, play it that way. Let me give you some friendly advice. Glarthir is crazy. Maybe harmless crazy, maybe not. Don't get involved with him. If he asks you to do anything strange, you come see me first. Got it? Or any of the town guard. Let us handle it.
Now, if you tell him that you're helping Glathir, he'll say something along the same lines, but adds that he doesn't care how much Glathir is paying you. Enjoying your honesty, he'll also say that he will trust you back, as in trust you to talk to a guard if Glathir asks you to do anything strange. Anyways, let's check out Bernadette. I must say she doesn't seem to be following Glathir, and she looks pretty innocent. At 6 a.m, she walks to the Great Chapel and prays for an hour, and then she goes to work at Tamika's vineyard until 11 a.m. She works away tirelessly with a hoe. Then she eats lunch and goes back to work, and then after work grabs dinner and goes home. If it's a rainy day, she doesn't work at all and just goes home after praying. She's really not following Glathir. Let's ask her if she knows anything about him.
Well, I know he's a bit odd, but I've always thought he was kind of sweet. Lately, though, he has been stranger than usual. I think maybe he's been following me. I see him every morning on my way to chapel. I've tried to say hello, but he always pretends not to hear me.
She seems pretty innocent, to be honest. Let's go and talk to Glathir and tell him what's up.
So, you saw Bernadette penniless, did you? She was watching me and following me, wasn't she?
Now you have the option to tell the truth or to lie. We'll definitely explore the exciting stuff that can happen when we lie, but for now let's just tell the truth.
Really? That is surprising. I was sure she was watching me.
Nevertheless, he pays you 150 gold reward whether you lie or be honest. His disposition towards you will decrease if you tell the truth though, as he slowly starts to think that you might be working with them. If you lie and say she was spying on him, he will be happy and say,
Just as I thought! Just as I thought! Excellent work. There will be a bonus in this for you, don't worry.
Either way, he then gives you your second suspect to investigate.
Toutius Sextius, do you know him? A quiet fellow, appears harmless enough, but I've identified him as one of my key suspects. He's a clever one, no doubt about it. Eyes in the back of his head, always seems to know when I'm watching. But that's where you come in. You should wait outside his house and see what he does when he's not watching me. I'll meet you here tomorrow night to get your report.
Can you tell us anything more about Toutius?
He lives in the large house between the Low Gate and the East Bridge, alone. Suspicious, don't you think?
As we depart, he will warn us that Toutius Sextius is more dangerous than he looks. Toutius Sextius is quite the arrogant fellow. In fact, when you first approach him, he will say that you must be new in town as you do not know him. He reckons that his father and the Count were good friends once upon a time, which might explain why he spends so much time at the castle. After spying on Sextius, you will find out that he leaves his residence at 6 AM and wanders around for 3 hours before leaving town and going to the castle. He wanders around the county hall until 2 PM and then goes home for lunch before leaving Skingrad to go horse riding to the west. At 9 PM he dismounts and goes home for dinner before sleeping at 11 PM. He may be a snob, but he seems innocent enough. What he's doing wandering around for the first 3 hours of the day is hard to say though. If you inquire about Glathir, he will offer a response which also hints at his innocence.
Something. I'm sorry, but I don't think I know any Glarthir. Oh, wait, do you mean that strange wood elf that you see wandering around the city? Yes, I've seen him, but never spoken to him. He seems to be at the Low Gate every morning when I pass by on my way to the castle. Gives me the strangest looks now that you mention it. Almost like he hates me, although I have no idea why.
Well, let's go back and tell Glathir. If you say Sextius is innocent and you also said Bernadette was innocent, Glathir will become increasingly suspicious, but again will reward you for your work anyway.
Really? So you're saying that neither Bernadette Penniless or Toutius Sextius is part of the conspiracy against me? Hard to believe.
However, if you said Bernadette was guilty and Sextius is innocent, he will believe you, saying that he might have been a decoy they're using to draw him away from finding out who the true spies are. Again, if you keep lying and say Sextius is also guilty, Glathir will be happy again that he was right all along, telling you that you're doing excellent work. We then arrive at the third person on his suspect list, and this one is quite high profile.
Do you know Davide Sorelli? Yes, of the famous Sorelli vineyards, pillar of the community, etc. Who would ever suspect him? Perfect cover for the ringleader of the whole conspiracy. He watches my house constantly. You'll see. He leaves his house early each morning. Watch him and report back to me here at midnight as usual. Make sure he doesn't notice you.
Inquire further, and he has this to add.
The Sorelli house is right next door to mine. A large house with a backyard conveniently located to observe my every move.
As you leave, he says that we must be careful because Davide is the ringleader. When you go to find Davide, we quickly discover that it seems like Glathir truly has lost the plot. Davide is just a winemaking hustler. He gets up at 6 a.m. every day and just spends the whole day hoeing the ground. He breaks to eat at each mealtime and then goes to bed at midnight. On rainy days, he doesn't do as much work though. Ask either of the Surelay brothers about Glathir and they will hold the town consensus that he isn't that dangerous. Do remember though that Elsa Godhater warned us that this opinion will only be true until Glathir snaps. Now it's time to head back to Glathir, and this is where things get interesting. We know Glathir is crazy, but just how crazy? Well, if you come back and say that Davide is innocent, and you also told the truth by saying the other two suspects were innocent, he reaches his breaking point.
Just as I suspected, they've gotten to you too! Not one of them involved in the conspiracy, and you expect me to believe that? Now I know for sure that they are all in on it, and therefore they all have to die, starting with you!
However, if you tell him that Davide is guilty, or that you say that Davide is innocent, but you said that either or both of the other two were innocent, Glathir will thank you for your help, give you another 150 gold, that's 150 per investigation, and then scribbles on a piece of paper and gives you a final task. He hands you what is known as his list of death. On it are the names of anyone you said was guilty. If you mentioned all three are guilty, it will specifically request you kill the so-called ringleader first, Davide Surelay. Now, if you decline this offer, Glathir will be a bit annoyed, but decides to take matters into his own hands, grabbing one of his battle axe from home and going to kill the targets himself. So saying they're all innocent and fighting Glathir is one way to end the quest, as is telling him they're all guilty and not helping him, forcing him to go on a killing spree himself. Or you can choose to help him. In this case, you go and assassinate the targets. At least I suggest you use stealth so you don't get caught. Then when you go back to Glathir, he will be extremely pleased, rewarding you with 1,000 gold.
Really? He's really dead? Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you! I'm free! I'm finally free!
Alternatively, we can actually show the note he gave us to the accused individuals or the guards.
Julianus, preserve us. I can't believe it. Why me? Please, show this to the guards right away.
What? This is unbelievable. Of all the strange fates to become the target of a stranger's madness. Please, you must show this to the guards at once. My life is in your hands.
So he has finally snapped. I knew we should have warned the guards back when I noticed him trying to break into my house. This has gone far enough. It's past time I dealt with this madman once and for all.
Davide and his brother will actually run off to kill Glathir, but Sextius and Bernadette obviously aren't brave enough. If you decide to tell the guards, they'll be happy to dispose of Glathir.
Damn. He's finally gone completely bonkers. Thanks for the tip. Now stand aside and let the guard do their work.
It's a sad tale for this truly paranoid elf, but I would love to hear you guys leave conspiracy theories in the comments trying to explain how Glathir is actually right and the world is out to get him. Give me some real Alex Jones shit if you can think of it. After the quest is over, I strongly recommend heading over to Glathir's house. You'll have to lockpick your way in there or pickpocket the key from him, or if he ended up dead, just loot it off his body. Inside, you will find a typical higher class Skingrad home with multiple floors and a basement too. There's books all over the place and a weird assortment of miscellaneous items like crystal balls and hourglasses on the shelf. There's piles of books everywhere, as I mentioned earlier, and lots of paintings sprawled all over the place too. You can actually find the entire 5-volume collection of the real Baron Zaya, and very nicely, you can actually press the basket near the main entrance to the door, and it opens, allowing you to take 800 gold pieces out of it. He's also got a lot of storage, including cupboards and locked chests. Many of these have weapons and armor in them, and next to his bed, you'll find a giant battle axe. Head into the basement and you'll find a table where Glathir writes down notes for himself. He records his observations and paranoid thoughts regarding his situation, and there will be new notes added depending on what you did throughout the various quest stages. I thought this was a neat touch and beautiful attention to detail. I would love to see detail like this continue in Elder Scrolls 6. Here are some examples. Current thoughts on the conspiracy. Marikati selectives, most likely, ruthless and secretive. I have undoubtedly earned their enmity by my vigilance numerous times. The Blades, supposedly the guardians of the Empire, question, do they know that I know their dark secret? Everything hinges on that. Mythic Dawn, need to learn more about them. Obscure hints from various sources suggest that they could be the most dangerous of the three. Question, why do they want me dead? Here's another one about Davide. Observations of Davide Sorelay. Maundus. Watched him from my upstairs window. He pretends to work, but I can tell that he is really watching my house. Spent several hours whispering to his brother. Could Gaston be involved as well? Toutius. Followed him to his vineyard. Don't think he saw me. He went off by himself once. Could have been burying secret evidence. Note, go back tonight and search for this. Could be the break I need to finally learn the truth. Midas. Too sick to go out today, but noticed him staring at my window. Toutius. Searched the vineyard tonight, found nothing, but the ground had clearly been disturbed. He must have learned I was spying on him and removed it. Note, need to find someone from out of town to help me. My movements are too closely watched. Fredus. Davide watched my house again. He doesn't even try to hide it anymore. They are becoming more brazen now. Think I am as good as caught in their net. I must strike back before it's too late. But are desperate measures called for yet? Do I have enough proof to justify acting? We then have notes regarding our interactions. For example, good news, I may still have a chance. Found someone to help me today. A stranger who can move freely. Hope to have proof against Bernadette penniless by tonight. And here's another one after saying that Bernadette and Toutius are innocent. I fear the conspiracy spreads further than I thought. The supposed stranger in town appears to be involved. It is likely that both Bernadette Penniless and Toutius Sextius are blameless, but I must not act without proof. I have always held myself to a higher standard than my enemies. The report on David Surley will tell the tale. I fear that the end is near, but I will not go down without a fight. They will know that Glathir, at least, did not submit to their yoke quietly. Anyways, that's pretty much the story of Glathir, one of the craziest elves you'll ever meet. Around town after finishing the quest, you can hear a variety of references to the event, depending on what happened. Some citizens will say it's sad no one stopped Glathir before he went on a killing spree, while alternatively you might hear people saying that the guard stopped him before he could kill anyone with his axe. This is one of my favorite quests in Oblivion, and it's super exciting to be able to talk about it with other people who love it so much. Thank you so much for watching this video, and if you enjoyed it as much as me, be sure to leave a like and a comment. I really want to hear your Glathir conspiracy theories. Subscribe for more videos like this. Social media and Twitch links are in the description, and we are streaming Oblivion. My name is Michael, and I'll see you next time.